and welcome to the 5 Minute Travel Teacher. This episode is on planning a destination wedding. My name is Dawn Kidd, and I am the owner of Kidd Travel along with my husband Mark. I have been a teacher for 25 years as well as a travel agent. I am resilient and patient, but really more than anything, I am totally invested in the successes and joys of those in my care. So, destination weddings. You know you want to get married in the perfect place, but how do you even go about this? How do you start? I would say the first thing that you need to do is start with a good travel advisor. They are experts on locations and they have connections at those locations to help smooth the way for you. Some travel agents can even help you create a wedding website to keep all the details coordinated, and we certainly have that. And more than anything, they can help take care of all of your family's questions, concerns, last minute details, and it will definitely be a stress reliever for you. So, the first thing that you need to do is narrow down the location and time and things that you want to think about. How far in advance do you need to plan? Planning a wedding, say 3 months in advance, would be difficult. Typically, a year and a half or so will work. You need to think about, is the location easy to get to, hard to get to? That will impact who is able to go. Think about things like flight schedules. Are there direct flights? Are there flights on the days that you need them? Is it tourist season there? That will impact how busy resorts and so forth are. And what about weather at your intended time of the year? Certainly, October in the Caribbean could be impacted by, say, a hurricane. Something you want to think about, definitely. Do you want to visit the place in advance? I do recommend that, and some resorts will even give you a deal on that advance so that you can check out their resort. And think about relative cost. The cost, say, for St. Lucia is going to be very different than the cost for Cancun. Think about that not only for yourself, but for your guests. And then once you have a location narrowed down, then you need to start thinking of some of the details. Do you want to be married on the beach or in a garden or with a castle in the background? Where do you envision the reception? Do you plan on having that on the beach as well, back at the resort? That as well will affect where we can do things. How many guests will be joining you? Is it adults only, or will there be children as well? Keep in mind, destination weddings tend to be much smaller because of the fact that guests all have to travel. Do you want a legal ceremony or a symbolic ceremony? Some people get married with a JP beforehand and do a symbolic ceremony, and frankly, your guests won't know the difference. And who do you want for an officiant? The reason you need to think about this is because certain locations have requirements on how long you must be there before you can be married, and you do need to know that. You also need to know about the laws that govern marriages in these particular locations. If you don't know, you could get caught unaware. Next, think about your budget. Some of the resorts have great deals where if you stay, they will get you married for free. But remember, if you want to add things on, then it will add to your cost. So if you're doing a small wedding with, say, 4 or 5 of your closest friends or families, that will probably be very inexpensive. However, if you're expecting 100 guests, that will definitely be very different, and we need to plan for that logistically. It really is all about finding the right professionals. The goal is to have this be less stressful because certainly getting married has its own stresses. Your friends and family can add to those stresses if they're constantly asking you about the resort and whether this will work and whether that will work, and I'm unhappy with this. You want to make sure that you can say, hey, call this person. Once we find you that perfect venue, again, we can put you in touch with the coordinators at that site. Many resorts do this sort of an all in one package, but you really need to think about specifics. What are you willing to pay for? What are you willing to give up because it's in a gorgeous location? Um, Meals and drinks. If you go to an all inclusive resort, certainly that changes what you need to pay for. Things like the cake, the videographer, the photographer, music and dancing. Please be aware that most resorts do not allow you to bring your own professionals, say your own photographer. So that is, again, something you need to think of if, say, your aunt is a great photographer and wants to do those. Finally, this is something that needs to be very personal. Every wedding is different, and every couple is looking for something different. If you're interested in chatting with us, the information is on the screen. Again, my name is Dawn Kidd, and I would be more than happy to start the conversation so that we can make your dream wedding happen. Thank you.